joining me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, as we stated, this is a special meeting of the school board for May 29th. Our first item on the agenda is patron concern. There's nothing, nobody has signed up for patron concern, so we'll mark that accordingly. New business, Dr. Kemp?
I'd like ask the board to approve Shannon McMunn's request to spend $7,125 of extracurricular funds for math and ELA licenses from Freckle, which includes 14 months of the subscription from June the 1st to August the 1st, 2020.
Entertain a motion. I'll make a motion to approve Shannon McMunn's request.
I'll second that.
A motion by Mr. Oakley and seconded by Mr. Schmidt to approve the request for Mrs. McMunn to spend ECA funds for the math and ELA license from Freckle. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The motion carries 5-0.
I'd like to share with the board the information that we received from the recent bid openings for the renovation for North Posey Junior High School and North Elementary and South Terrace, and the junior high school and high school. And I'll have George kind of go through the bidding process and just and give us what his recommendations are, and then we'll move on from there.
These are for your records. These match up with what we'll be looking at up here. All right, so last Thursday we opened and received bids on several projects. First project that we'll be talking about is the paving project, which includes milling and new surface, sealing and striping of existing areas not being milled at the junior senior high school. It includes the new parking lot at South Terrace, milling of roughly 60% of the parking lot there, new surface at South Terrace, and then creating that turning blister to create a exit for the parent drop off so they don't swing wide into the big parking lot back there. They can just loop back around on it. With that, I received a bid from J.H. Rudolph for $695,450. And tonight, this afternoon, I'm here to recommend that we award the project to J.H. Rudolph. You want to take these one at a time?
No, you just go through your whole presentation.
All right. Then we took bids to the renovations at the North Posey Junior Senior High School. We received 2 bids, one from Mark Construction, one from Garmon Construction. I've, as of today, received a letter from Garmon's attorney requesting that they be released from the bid due to errors that they made within the bidding process. They left out a significant portion of concrete out of their bid and the HVAC, and they received word that they had an unusual subcontractor on the rest. So tonight I'll be recommending that we release Garmon Construction Services from their bid and award to Art Construction for the base bid, plus alternates number 1 and 2. Next project is North Elementary. We received 4 bids on that project, and tonight we'll be recommending that we award the project to Garmon Construction for the base bid, which includes all the front entry work and relocating the office to create that secured entry. Intercom systems, phone systems, fire alarm systems, and then I'll also be recommending alternates 1, which is renovation of those restrooms right next to the cafeteria, and alternate number 2, which eliminates the vault door there and puts a more usable, serviceable door to that room for them. They will no longer use that for their secure storage. That's going to be in the new renovated portion. So the next one.
One, on North Elementary, right at the last second, we had requested to change out 2 of the entryways, and that got,
That's in the base bid.
that got in the base bid.
That's in the base bid.
You know what I'm talking about? It's where you come back here in the back, the boiler room to make it a more secured, brand new door, and where the students go in, where the buses unload, we're replacing that as well. That was added at the last second.
So this says renovations to North Elementary and South Terrace?
Yeah.
It includes the STEM classroom in South Terrace. That was kind of an oddball outlier element out there. So we put it in with them since we're doing a very similar type room, STEM room at North Elementary. And we didn't want to just create a project for one room
Okay.
out South Terrace. So that is included in the, as well as the intercom, fire alarms, phone systems at South Terrace too. So those would be, that's a package deal. It'll be the same for North and South Terrace, North Elementary and South Terrace.
You said intercom, fire alarm, and phone?
Yes. And also tonight, I'll be recommending that the board consider award of the polyurethane surface for the track project. At our last board meeting, we held that in reserve so we could see where all the other bids came in. All the other bids that we've taken bids on 8 of the 9 projects, and we're under budget. A little over $400,000 at the junior senior high school, $65,000 at South Terrace, and about $250,000 at North Elementary. Those projects are under budget, and that includes project number 9, which we budgeted for $500,000 at South Terrace for the playground. So I'd be recommending that you award, this would be a change order since we've already executed the contract with ARC, $74,620 for the polyurethane track surface on it. And then we tabled the football field lighting until we could see where all the bids came in. So at this point in time, I'd be recommending that you award the football field lighting project to Custer Electric with alternates number 1, which takes the lighting from HID to LED lighting, and alternate number 2, which takes 4 of the poles and 4 of the existing poles and reinstalls them on the practice fields, so we can get use out of those. And then one other project that we quoted because of its size was for the fencing at South Terrace, and that was we had base bid fence playground and an alternate to pretty much fence the whole, almost the entire property on it, including about 2,400 feet of fencing. And that I'm going to recommend that we award that to Tri-State Fencing for $69,032. Are there any questions about the bids?
So on the track resurfacing bid, the D zones, those are gonna be artificial turf, they're not gonna be, the track is, so we're gonna leave that as, it's gonna look green.
Yes.
Okay, so the only alternate we're adding, which is a change order, is number 1.
Yes.
Okay, so 2, 3, and 4 are not.
2, 3, and 4, we did not award those in the truck project.
And by us opening this as a change order, it doesn't change anything else. I mean, it doesn't open us up for, I mean, this is, it's not like we opened the bid up and.
No, you already took bids on all those alternates, you tabled them. In the bid that they submitted, their bids were good for 90 days. We were well within that 90 days to make that decision to award it.
Okay.
On the practice facility, you go over specifically what you end up with as a final product?
Okay. The project is a wood frame construction, wood truss, metal siding with metal liner panels inside on walls and the ceiling. At one end is a locker room facility with coach's office and laundry room down there. And then on the other end is public toilets for game events, another concession room, and a storage room. Those are the two alternates. In the base bid, we shelled it and didn't include the locker room or the toilets and concession area. But, with the way the bids came in, we can recommend that you can award that still be in the budget.
And this is completely getting rid of what's there now.
No, we're not, yeah, this is, yeah. What's there now, my recommendation was, that's a good building, at some point in time, we want to renovate that, I would renovate that building, but this is adding more toilets out there to it and another concession area.
And we were talking about taking that area and renovating and making more storage there. And taking out the concession stand and the current storage and that. And then I think one of the future drawings or whatever, the concept drawing we had at one time had some awnings and stuff for people to be able to sit and grill and eat.
So this is going where those tennis courts are.
Yes.
It'll clean up the area. All of these projects, the bleachers and this, will clean up that area that stays muddy in there. That's not concrete between the two sidewalks, the bleachers and the sidewalk, and clean all that up. All that's going to be cleaned.
Do you happen to know the rough dimensions of that?
I'm gonna say that it's a little over 70 feet by, I want to say 160, maybe 170 feet.
The concession stand, would that be located in like the center on one end?
No,
So that,
it's on the same end where your current concession is,
okay,
and the concession is on the baseball side of that building.
so we wouldn't replace the football concession, it would remain.
There was a time when that was discussed about possibly, taking the building down, but the building's in good enough shape that, we just did this up in Ellisville, Indiana. There's a big boss up there. They have an old building like that.
Mhm.
We actually remodeled that into toilets and then built a locker room so we could football stadium and put a canopy between the two to where now there's a covered area where they go out and get their concessions, go to the restroom, sit and eat. So that was kind of a long-term thought on that down the road. So I didn't see any
Football
reason.
concession gets no changes.
No change.
That's not a bad idea to have maybe some 4 or 5 picnic areas there to the left. Where we're still, I guess that used to be the kids' football field.
Yeah.
They can play between games, but that'll be all hard surface now, right?
On the football side, not all of that will be. That'll
Still be grass.
Yeah.
Okay.
The building is going where the tennis courts are.
Then there's sidewalks all around.
There's sidewalks all around it.
So the existing concessions building and then down towards the football field side. That's the thing, that's the fencing.
out there.
Here you can see the parking lot we're adding there, then this loop around right here. We've restriped this, redone this parking lot, striped it for event parking. So when you have an event, there's some organization to the parking lot. And then we had,
That's it.
in the base bid, we fenced,
Oh.
is it because I'm touching
You're
it?
touching. Oh, you're touching.
Oh, okay.
See, you're doing
Oh,
it.
okay. All right. All right. We had a base bid to fence around the playground areas. And then the alternate was to go all the way along here and fence all the way around the property right there. And we left openings, I'm trying to remember where we left them on an opening on this side and on this side because there's kids that walk to school. And we left a gap in the fence where they could use that.
So go back, Amy. So the area, to the bottom of the gym, so that is not a playground of
No,
any
No.
shape, way, shape, or form.
no.
Fuel.
Spot
there.
The fuel's over on the west side now,
It's over here.
and that new parking lot will go out into the old.
It's shaped a
side.
little differently than that. That was a concept drawing. The fuel station stays where it's at.
And the soccer field still stays there, just gets shifted a little.
They'll lose part of the soccer field,
Yeah.
but nobody's played on that soccer field in
Yeah, they
years. I can't
Matter of
remember.
fact, if they did, they probably need a kid size, which I'll make it even better, you know? 'Cause that thing used to be monstrous. to run on.
We started taking care of this soccer field down back here. And kind of abandoned that as a soccer field.
I'm gonna stop when you want to focus on that.
That's the,
Go back to
so that's the one classroom that's out there. And the one we tried to lump things together that made sense for you. So we put all the kind of general construction things. The other part that project includes a junior senior high school. It includes renovations to the STEM lab, art classroom, secured entrance. And the one thing I did not mention was the expansion of the press box. Clean that up. So we try to lump all the general construction things together to maximize your buying power, for lack of a better term. The locker rooms, we addressed the Title IX issues that you had there. Renovated those. Yeah. So basically, you can see this is the end towards the existing concession baseball fields here. So we have concession, storage, toilets, and then a locker room down here.
So really, we're just adding numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8 to the.
No, you have 1, 2, 3, and 4 over there was one alternate to finish that into the building. And the base bid, the shell of that space was getting built. So in the base bid, we were building end to end with a demising wall right here. And so if you didn't take the alternate, this would just be a big open room.
So where's our existing concession, and it's.
Right here. Over
So
here.
it's
It's
gonna be a
about
little gap.
30 feet, I think, over that direction. There's a bit of a plaza between the two of them.
That's where we were talking about in the future, maybe doing that picnic area that we were talking about.
So right now, there's not gonna be anything covering that.
No.
What will we do with the building up there then?
We'll keep it.
Just gonna be the ticket
Yeah.
room, but the concession stand won't be in it anymore. It'll just like have these storage.
Well, when we'll renovate it, we'll make all that storage or any other need that we may have. I mean, we have the tractor and we have the gator out there. And that's stored in there now and it's crammed in there. So we can make that to where we can store all of our equipment.
And the existing locker room today, would that be the visitors locker room?
That'll be the visitors one,
So no change to the bathrooms that are down there for football.
not right now.
Not the existing ones, but there are new ones.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Okay.
Actually, I do have another question. So in the existing building there still, it has bathrooms in it.
Yes.
Are those gonna stay there or will they go?
Yeah, we're not doing anything to that building. So on big game nights, if you want to open up both buildings, all sets of bathrooms, increase access, if you want to open up both concession stands, if that made sense for you, you'd have that, still have that ability.
Better get to the right page, dude. On page 2, right? Okay. At this time, I'd like to ask the board to release Garmon Construction from their renovation project at North Posey High School and Junior High due to an error on their processing part, and to not cash in their bid bond and just totally release them from their bid.
I'll make a motion to release Carmon from their bid.
Second,
I'll second it.
so a motion by Mr. Stock and seconded by Mr. Schmidt to release Garmon from their renovations of the high school and junior high bid, and to not cash in the bid bond. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion carries 5-0.
I might just state for the records, in case anybody watching this later on would ask the question whether the law allows them to be released. It certainly does. In fact, it's clearly made errors, significant errors in the bidding, and would likely prevail in court if we try to enforce it.
At this time, I'd like to recommend the board accept the J.H. Rudolph bid for the paving for $695,450. Also accept the bid renovations to the North Posey Junior Senior High School from Arc Construction for $1,830,000. Includes and also include alternate 1 and 2 for $199,000 and $167,000 respectively, for a total of $2,196,000. And also recommend that the board accept North Elementary and South Terrace bid from Garmon Construction, totaling $895,160. Includes alternate 1 and 2 for $29,000 and $2,600, for a total of $926,760. Recommend the board approve these construction projects and alternates as listed.
Are we gonna add the fencing? Oh, okay.
Is it possible to vote on these separately? Or do they need to be as a package deal?
You want to split out? What do you want to do? You want to split the?
I'm still struggling with this practice facility, to be honest, so I didn't know if it's possible to.
Anything's possible.
So in my head, I was also questioning why we would add more bathrooms, and we had bathrooms right there. I don't know if that matters. That's another alternate that's in there, right? 1 and 2.
I believe you're correct on that. Is that right,
I
George?
think in my head, that thing was split, so those bathrooms were down towards the football, not
I mean, no matter where you
right
put
on
them,
the side. Yeah.
no matter where you put them, you're gonna have bathrooms in the general
No, but it'll be like right beside each other.
vicinity.
The concept later on is to renovate the older building. Those bathrooms might not be there.
We could vacate those bathrooms.
Yeah.
If you-
And create more space.
That's kind of part of my issue with this, is we're operating, we don't have a long-term plan of this, on where we're going from here, which kind of leads to your point.
Well, kind of the plan would be to renovate that building and gut it, put in what you need for storage, and then put in what else you need. Build an awning between the two buildings and create the concept drawing. The original concept drawing had a palladium there with picnic tables where people could eat at the concession stand and hang out under a roof. Both venues could then use the place if a storm came up to take cover.
Because and also in my head, I thought that the concession stand was for the football, not for the baseball side. I mean, not that they both need one.
Yeah, the
I think I thought
baseball,
in my head it ran across the end and it would be used by both, like.
that baseball concession stand that they have now, if you listen to everybody that works in there, it's inadequate. It's basically a closet that was converted.
I've worked it.
I don't know why we'd build a building like this and not put bathrooms here and a concession stand. I think we'd be silly for not doing that. That's my.
I mean, it gives us the opportunity with the building that's in front. Because the original conversation was if we didn't have the money, if the project got too high,
Right, we wouldn't.
then we wouldn't add bathrooms and concession, we'd
Right.
just reuse what we had. Obviously, we've got enough to complete what we
We
wanted to
have the
complete.
money, so yeah.
This would make these more modern and newer facilities, and then, like Dr. Camp said, we could leave the building, we could tear it down, we could do whatever we wanted with that front building.
Use it for more
And-
storage.
And while you're using this facility, if you don't have any bathrooms in there, you're gonna have to leave, go unlock another set of
So those
doors.
doors go in and out of the
Yeah, there's
the
doors that come in.
facility, come into the.
If you're in the facility, you can use those bathrooms.
Interior
Or
doors
outside.
and exterior doors.
There's
So
no
I
doubt
get that,
something
definitely from
needs
the
to be done
inside.
here. That tennis court, it's not usable, it hasn't been for a long time, it looks absolutely terrible. I'm just struggling throwing over $2 million at the practice facility and locker rooms. So it,
That's not $2 million, not, well,
So the overall bid was, that included
The entire project,
classroom work, the science, the STEM lab, the art lab, the security.
the locker rooms, the safety stuff, it's,
so we can't break that out separate from the rest.
That's all included in
it's
the
all included in what the base bid was. It's the high school project.
But we could vote on the high school project separately
From the,
from
Grade
the
school?
others, yeah.
yeah, if you want to.
I mean, if you wanna vote against it, you're voting against STEM.
And so then you're gonna vote,
I mean,
yeah,
if
and
That's
it's
why I
all
wish we
included in
could
there.
take them all separately.
So,
Because there's no way of knowing exactly how much this is out of that whole project.
Yeah, I guess they bid on the whole thing, so they're all in or not.
Yeah, it made sense for us to put all the general construction.
Which I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We save money in the long run.
in the long run, building it now is gonna be a heck of a lot cheaper than if you went back and did it later.
Right, it always is. I mean,
Yeah, and not messing things.
it's just not, seems like a lot of things that North Posey does, it's not planned out long-term in advance. And this is a whole lot of money we're throwing at this stuff without a long-term plan, man. I know that there's options of things we can do with these buildings, but we don't have that laid out very well, it seems like.
Vince, in my opinion, if you wait till you have every single answer that you want answered, we would never move on anything. And I hate to be that blunt, but that's just the way, if we waited on you to be ready to answer every question that you want answered, we would never move on nothing.
Operating off a wish list is hard for me. If you had brought a long-term plan, that's fine. We were given a wish list last fall. I can't throw my vote to $2 million off a wish list.
I think a complex is pretty, when you do that, I don't know what more you can do to that complex.
I think to me, what we're doing with this plan, I mean, this has been up there more than
It's been
1
up there
year.
for
This-
15 years.
I mean, we've talked about having this facility for at least 2 or 3 years. And,
It was
you know, we
actually-
vacated those tennis courts for competition for a reason.
It's
Yeah,
just,
we
we've
built-
been all over the place with what we were gonna do, if we were gonna tear down everything and build something that took
I don't
place.
disagree, but I don't think I mean, there's no way any of us, I think at the beginning, I'll be blunt, I thought everything was gonna come in over budget and we weren't gonna have enough money to do what we wanted to do. I'm ecstatic with the fact that we get to do all this and still have money left over to do more. This kind of ties everything in to the baseball and football field and the track. You might as well even say the tennis, you know, with that same facility.
Tenants can't use the facility, you're just talking about overall.
Why
it's
can't
all-
tennis use the facility?
You got turf, right?
Tennis can hit off of that.
The turf
Well, I mean, they're gonna have,
It's a shorter turf
isn't.
they can,
what's on the.
I mean,
Well,
they'll have
I
access to
specifically
that.
asked, it was told tennis couldn't be used.
It won't
That's
be, it won't be
great.
turf like what's on the football field.
It's more of a multi-purpose.
And maybe as far as like being able to use it like competition wise, they can't, but I mean, the storage is there. You know, to me, this gives us the opportunity. We have bathrooms down by the tennis court now. We have bathrooms for the football. We have bathrooms up for the baseball. Hardly ever do we have one event going on at one time. There's generally multiple events going on. But it does give us the opportunity to open and shut things as we need to. I don't know, I mean, to me, it does kind of tie in, this was the missing piece that tied into the rest of everything else. You know, I mean, quite honestly, we're gonna have to redo the field house that was done.
Yeah, it was done in 2000, it was before 2005.
You know, that's gonna have to be redone in the next 5 to 10 years of some, you know, for repurposing that.
There's no doubt that things there need maintenance and honestly need more storage and stuff. It's just, like I said, I struggled with the lack of a plan going forward. And everybody knows that I wasn't happy with how quick this has gone. So this is probably just more of my resistance to that. But
And I mean, you're right on the storage because, you know, we were fearful that maybe we had maybe incorrectly stored some track equipment because of lack of space. That
I mean, you got your lawnmowers in with your track equipment. It's an issue.
we
There's
got
no
stuff
doubt.
stacked on top of stuff, and yeah. I mean, we'll never have enough storage. It's just like your house. The more toy, you know, when you just continue to add toys. But I mean, if you want to separate this, I'll entertain that. Or if your vote is going to be no no matter what, I don't know why you wouldn't just vote no and just stay
I would
quiet.
like to keep it separate if possible because, and I guess like
Separate
you
the high
said,
school and North
and
Elementary.
the stem lights are in there, but
Yeah.
I think everybody understands where I'm at.
So
We'll need a motion to do that. So somebody just make a motion to approve. So you're, right, we just need a motion.
a motion.
We don't have a motion on the table.
If someone wants to move to approve the bid from J.H. Rudolph for paving, and you want to do that alone, just do it. Do so now.
Because before we get a motion on the floor, we just have a recommendation.
We
at
have
this
a
point.
recommendation at this point.
Okay. So all we need is a motion to just do.
So I'll make a motion to approve the paving bid for J.H. Rudolph.
I'll second.
You getting all this?
I'm trying.
I'm working on it.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Oakley and seconded by Mr. Stock to approve the paving bid for J.H. Rudolph for the amount of $695,450. Any comments or questions regarding that? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0.
There's a recommendation on the table to approve the North Posey High School, junior high school project from ARC Construction totaling $2,196,000, which includes all the alternates.
I'll make a motion that we approve the North Posey Junior, Senior High School renovations bid from Art Construction totaling $2.196 million.
Second.
I'll second that.
And just for a matter of grammar, it was accepting the bid,
Yes.
accepting, not approving, accepting.
So we have a motion by Mr. Schmidt and seconded by Mr. Stock to approve or accept the bid from Art Construction for $1,830,000, including alternates 1 and 2 for $199,000 and $167,000 respectively, for a total of $2,196,000. Any comments or questions regarding that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
That motion carries 4-1. And then,
You're going to say everybody, it was a 4-1 vote with Mr. Oakley dissenting.
noted as such.
And then, at this time, there is a recommendation to accept the North Elementary and South Terrace bid from Garmon Construction for $895,160, plus alternates 1 and 2 for $29,000 and $2,600, totaling $926,760.
Entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to accept base bid renovations in North Elementary and South Terrace and Garland.
Second.
We need that with alternates one and
The
two.
refill thing, okay, totaling $895,160, with alternates 1 and 2 for $29,000 and $2,600, for a grand total of $926,760.
Second.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion by Mrs. Will and seconded by Mr. Schmidt to approve the North Elementary and South Terrace project as recommended by Dr. Camp, which includes alternates 1 and 2, for a grand total of $926,760. Any comments or questions regarding that?
And just for clarification, this is to accept the bid.
Second the bid. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0.
At this time, I'd like to ask the board to revisit the items tabled and during the May 1st meeting to approve the latex surface for $197,950. I would like to ask the board to approve the alternates 1 that we kind of tabled, the polyurethane surface, and the amount for that surface is $74,620. In addition, I'd like to ask the board to approve the tabled item in the May 13th meeting for the football field lighting, and also accepts alternates 1 and 2 from Custer Electric for $269,000 for the base bid, $29,450 for alternates 1, which upgrades to LED, and accept alternate 2 for $8,550, which relocates those poles to practice fields. Ask the board to approve Custer Electric and Company for the football field lighting.
Entertain a motion.
I think that was read into the record clearly by Dr. Camp, and someone just wants to approve Dr. Camp's recommendation. I think that would be acceptable wording.
I'll approve Dr. Camp's recommendation.
Second.
Yeah. I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion by Mr. Stock and seconded by Mr. Schmidt to accept Dr. Camp's recommendation, which includes the acceptance of the bids as presented, which also has those included, the alternates as presented. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That motion carries 5-0.
I inadvertently left one of the items out of the bid, the packet, and sorry about that, but I'd like to add one thing. So I'm trying to get all the bid packets in. I forgot to add a quote that we received. At South Terrace, we recommended fencing in the playground, with alternates 1 being taking the entire area, about 90%, 80% of the entire school, leaving the front still open, but the other 3 sides totally covered by fencing. I'd like to ask the board to approve tri-state fencing with alternates 1, including the entire area except parts of the front entryway for $69,032.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the fencing bid, accept the fencing bid for South Terrace,
Including alternate 1.
including the alternates as Dr. Camp laid out.
Second,
One second.
so we have a motion by Mr. Oakley and seconded by Mrs. Will to approve the recommendation from Dr. Camp to accept Tri-State fencing, bid, including alternate one for a grand total of $69,032. Any comments or questions?
Just for clarification, we ran these quotes through George Link with VPS Architecture as well. So, I mean, we did do that.
And by not including these in the other bids, it saved us, contract.
Yeah, that's, general contractors would hire Tri-State fencing to do the fence, so just knock that off the middleman.
Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Dr. Wannigill, you're up.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. On May 20th, we had a bid opening for our food service contract. As you may recall from earlier conversations, the Indiana Department of Ed is heavily involved in this type of bidding process because of the federal dollars that we deal with the free and reduced lunch program. So we met on Friday after the bid opening on May 20th, a committee of 3, so it was Dr. Camp, Dr. Streeter, and myself, and we completed a rubric that's similar to the bid sheet that Mr. Link has been showing us for our other projects, basically. And so we had a total award points going to Aramark as far as a recommendation. We are not able to award the contract, though, without approval from the Indiana Department of Ed. So after we met on Friday, I talked to a representative at the Department of Ed. She said for me to send to her, the evaluation rubric and both bid proposals. And then she would look over, and once she returned from a Memorial Day break, she's on vacation right now. She was coming back today. She acted like it'd be a pretty quick turnaround. So I checked email right before the meeting, and she hasn't responded yet. She said she could come back with an approval that we can go ahead and award the bid, or she might come back with some recommendations that we would have to ask the company for additional information. So that's where we're at. Basically, we're under a timeline from the DOE as far as awarding July 1st timelines. We would have had to have finished our bid process before May 31st. So we're okay with that first timeline. And so we should be, if we want to go down this pathway with a vendor, it would be up to the board to award the bid at the June meeting. In between that time, you either do an amendment or you sign off on the RFP to enter into a contract. And again, before we sign the final contract, she wants to see the amendment or the signed RFP, and then she'll want to see, she being the Indiana Department of Ed, Ms. Harris, the contract itself before we sign. So we are in line with the timeline. Now, the manuals that I have given you, I was hoping that you would have time to review these in great detail before we take that June vote. You know, we're going down 2 pathways, whether we want to do the traditional cafeteria services like we've always had in the past, or if we want to go through a business vendor to take care of our food service industries. When we looked at the proposal, Aramark had a guarantee of $87,059 each year. So that's our minimum guarantee of what we would make as a profit, where Chartwell guaranteed $20,137. Now in June, I'll be showing bid sheets just like this, that once we're approved from the Department of Education. The reason why I'm asking that you take the time to go through, even though Chartwell has the majority of these binders, their food services, what they offer, are very similar between these 2 programs. But what I want you to make sure that you're able to have an informed opinion about is what the difference is between a food service vendor, what a company can provide, as opposed to the traditional cafeteria management that we had in the past, because it's two very different things. And if you see what the food services that they offer as a business, it's a more point of contacts as sales, not just in your cafeteria. So they have more contacts, point of contacts, different menu options, healthier food options, not as much processed food options. It's a business. They have a marketing plan that goes with this as well, as far as trying to get kids to eat more healthier options. They offer, if we wanted to have culinary type clubs for the elementary kids to be involved in, they have that as well. They have a health and wellness program. They have, we want our athletes to have a snack before their athletic events on the bus. They would provide that as well. So it's a plethora of different services they offer that's very much different than a traditional model.
But they do operate under the same rules,
Oh,
no
yes.
matter what.
Yes.
So you
Yeah.
could do the same thing if you hire the right person.
Well, I don't know if you can do all these different services, because if you think about how they describe to us as far as equipment, that, you know, how you stage a home basically for sale. They must have a warehouse of equipment, different signage, different types of apps where a teacher could order lunch from her classroom and have it picked up down by the cafeteria. They have different types of setups as far as how the cafeteria itself would be remodeled. So that's why I really want you to look through these. It's two different types of models. No, I wouldn't want to set up somebody as a food service manager under a traditional model and expect them to do all this.
Can you explain a little bit? You mentioned profit on that.
Yes, so it's a minimum guarantee of a profit. So we would for sure capture that many, $87,000 each school year
That we could reinvest into our cafeteria fund.
in equipment.
So that doesn't include any purchasing of equipment.
Right. In fact, they're not allowed to do that anymore, is what the vendors were telling us. And
We
before,
would have.
they could put in their proposal that they would have X amount of equipment. And apparently, some of this equipment will come with this. They just cannot make it part of the proposal anymore. And you'll see that in here, they have like little food service trucks and different things that they just cannot use that equipment as part of the proposal anymore.
I guess I'm having a hard time understanding how you make it profit.
But we make a profit every year.
We make a
So,
profit.
yeah,
Do you know what that is?
And even though we're discouraged not to, because they want you to do
I
quality
know we've
food.
been knocked on that because we have too
Right.
much money, right?
Now, they're saying that since they're leaders of the industry in food service, that they can buy bulk of fresh produce at a cheaper price.
And we won't have to raise our prices to our kids.
No.
That's.
I mean,
completely
actually, we've
different.
decided we're 3 raises behind, but I thought that we got approval that we didn't have to
Yeah,
raise.
Nancy called me and said they approved our waiver for not increasing our prices. And we'll be approving that in June as well, our lunch prices and breakfast prices.
So even if we would go with one of these, sorry, I just want to interrupt you, we would not be raising lunch
That's
prices.
correct. Mhm.
Can you get a figure on what our profit is in the last 5 years? And
Yeah, whenever I went back, just, it's kind of skewed the last couple of years because we were trying to drain money from that fund because we've been cited for having too much money, so there's been a lot of equipment purchase. So like this year, it looks like we made $1,200. So that trend line's going to be skewed, yeah,
because we've been trying to get it down.
yes.
We probably approved 4 or 5 different $25,000 purchases
Right.
of equipment.
Mhm.
What's gonna happen then if you get a profit bigger than that by going through them, you're still gonna have the same issue?
One of the things that we're entertaining is some of the schools have offered free breakfast to anybody. You come down, you get breakfast. And
There's also summer programs too.
there's summer programs where you can feed children during the summer and keep your cafeteria open. There's things that we can do to, EVSC already has some summer programs in some of their buildings now where they feed students over the summer.
And so I'm finished with the binders because we're through with the bid process, so you can feel free to take those. I just have 4 though. If somebody,
But they're not all the same. One is
Right, well, but their services are very similar.
Yeah, these
Yeah.
three are the same.
Yeah,
This one's different.
yeah, there's one else.
That's
We
what you're
could-
marking.
We can share this for
Yeah.
sure. So, I mean, my takeaway from this, and maybe I'm wrong, but we could, to your point, we could probably do the same. We could probably provide the same thing, but it would cost us a lot more in resources and people. Because we're trying to do something that they're doing in a mass quantity
Right, and product too.
in products. So they're kind of doing this for multiple.
Right, and they have a client list in there too. Some of them have their public school, private school, as well as universities, nursing homes, they have all that in there.
We're still fine going either option timeline wise,
Right.
and
I kind of prefer the hybrid model where, both of them said they wanted to hire locally. And Aramark in particular, we asked if, they would even review our applicants that we've been taking here for our food service manager. And maybe, hire from those applicants. Now, because they pay more for the food service manager, they might want to repost because they think they'll get more at a higher wage than what we were paying the food service manager. So we'd have a bigger pool, local pool. So, you have your local, or even you have an inside applicant. So we'd still have that, but also would have perks that you would get through the vendor.
is there any guarantee they would use our existing employees?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All of our employees stay. They're our employees. They will have the option to go to them if they want. So they're our employees if they want to stay our employees. The only employee that would not be ours anymore would be the food service director.
They would go work with them, they would possibly get paid more, but lose our insurance, lose our benefits.
And what they, both vendors, have said that some people move over because of maybe a higher wage and they don't want benefits. It just depends on what we pay versus what different people do different things. But they will have that option and they will always have that option.
So how long is this contract good for?
1 year.
So we sign
Mhm.
1-year contract and then we renew it.
Yeah, there's a renewal process.
And so if we get 2 years into it or 1 year into it, we're like, this isn't what we thought it was, we can scrap it and go back to our original traditional food service program.
And even with renewing, the Department of Education is involved too, through the renewal process. I don't know if they can extend it past 1 year after we get the initial year, if we can enter a 3-year. But right now, as far as our RFP, it's 1 year.
Kind of along the same lines. Nancy's position, if you filled it, it's basically a 1-year contract as well, so you can revisit that.
Yes.
I would assume it would have to be.
Yeah.
Because
For
that would
us,
be,
it is.
Well, just to make sure I understand, the manager's gonna be hired by,
but
Yeah.
if we
But
go to
if
bid,
we went to traditional method, that's a 1 year,
Yes.
we renew that contract every year with that food service manager.
yeah, well, if we go traditional, I mean, really their contract is just like our teachers' contracts.
We would have to terminate it, give them a 30-day notice to terminate
Yes.
it if you're gonna it's automatic renewal if we don't give them a 30-day notice.
Can we get pricing set for if we were to renew it, if the state was to, so we kind of help somewhat lock in pricing wise on this, or?
We'd have to go back out for.
Price include, are you saying, or the minimum guarantee?
Yeah, the minimum.
Yeah, I'm not for sure on the renewal process. I can have that information at the June meeting though.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that would stay similar. I mean, I understand we can't approve it because of the state guidelines, but,
Or how long this minimum guarantee is good for.
right,
Yeah.
without raising prices
Mhm.
for the kids, for the end users.
Right.
I mean,
We could decide to
That's
hire an
controlled by
assistant
us.
manager as well, and it would change that.
Right.
We still have control.
But the student lunch prices is somewhat controlled by the DOE as well.
Yeah.
What you might ask them for, sorry, I don't mean to interject on this, is ask them for existing clients that they have a multiple year history with, and have them share their costs with that, because I think, Jeff, what you're getting at is, you don't want to get into 1 year, you like that road, and then all of a sudden, hey, guess what? You know, deals completely different.
Right.
It's totally, so you might be able to see their trend with other clients there.
Yeah, with other schools especially.
I don't even know if this is a fair question to ask, but does Nancy have an opinion on these options?
Yes. Not the options, but whether we go traditional or whether we go with it. Yes.
Do you want to share that or?
She shared with that with me in private, so I prefer not.
She'll talk to you.
She'll talk to you.
So I have a question too. Could we ask, so I think I'm a little concerned about having so if we went with one of these routes, having some employees that are working for us and some employees that are working for a food service vendor, getting paid different wages, getting paid different, and the fighting that may go on amongst that. I mean, I would think that might be a little bit of a concern. Have they had this same scenario at other places where they could share that kind of information with us?
And there's several schools that have Airmark near us,
But do they have
and it goes the same way.
commingled?
Yeah, it goes the same way.
I mean, that's a fair question, but I think you're gonna have that.
Well, our teachers are paid differently too, and they're really the same.
Yeah, but they have the same supervision
Same
structure,
benefit, same.
same benefits, same,
Supervision is the same.
Because it's still,
Well-
still supervised by the food service manager. It's just that
Yeah.
person reports to Aramark and not necessarily us, but we're the customer. So they almost have, I mean, they have to work their job like, we could take this back over and get it
I
reported
just
to
be
us.
afraid that, so I'm boss, you work for me, but you don't. Well,
Well,
They all
the
report to
director,
We've probably assured Aramark that we will not allow
the
that.
director is in charge.
Yeah.
But the director reports to us as well as it does Airmark.
Because I see what you're saying, I can say, well, that's, I'm, you know
I'll
what?
get rid of you and I'll hire another person that will work for, I'm just thinking that could be really.
They said there is some turnover, which a lot of times whenever with any change of business, you'll have some turnover on staff.
Another thing is said, a lot of it, the way it generally shakes out is the people that have been working for North Posey for a long time, they want to retire from North Posey, so they don't go over. Some of the younger staff will go over. And then there'll be some people that just quit. And that's been, both vendors said that happens everywhere they go.
I mean, I personally like the idea that we don't have to sign a 5-year contract like we've typically got it forced to do when we go with a vendor type of a relationship, and not even trying to decide which team you're on. The idea of being able to have a year of something totally different than what we've done historically, and just to see if there's something new, something fresh, something different we can add to the program is very intriguing. That's just my 2 thoughts. I mean, we may get through the year and say this is a bad decision.
So what kind of damage have we done at that point to
That's my concern
staff,
to your
I mean,
employees.
I'm not saying, some of these options look amazing, like I would think as a child in there,
But if most of them are local people, I think you have the opportunity just to move them over into our umbrella. Maybe you don't, maybe they stay with Aramark and they go on to someplace else, but I don't know. It's a nice, at least it's a break from what we've had, and we kind of know what we've had.
And I did share with you too, the results of our survey.
I could not.
I couldn't
access
see
that.
I didn't get the results. It
no,
was
it
just
wants
the
us to
survey.
take the survey.
Right. It was a
Oh,
link
okay.
to the survey.
Well, it has 2 tabs at the top.
So click on like we're gonna take the survey?
The one right next to it, one's a survey and one's results. It's the same link. One's gonna be
It
survey.
just looks like a button of take.
Is that like your Jen?
Don't have
Is that
it.
Google Drive?
Yes, it's in a
We got it
separate,
right email.
it's in a separate Google Drive.
Yeah, this is all we get.
So I didn't see that. No, I'm not gonna swear that I read it everywhere.
Yeah.
I just saw that pop up, and I was like,
I couldn't figure out how, I was like, well, I don't.
Oh, yeah, you're different than mine. Okay, I'll resend
you're-
it then.
okay, because I
You're probably
I
the
can't-
administrator
Yeah,
for
and,
that
and,
survey.
yeah, and actually Amy Moore sent it out, so it might be that she has to send it out to you. Could be the other problem, so I'm looking over that.
And the survey went to parents. Is that-
If for elementary children, yeah, the parents receive the survey, and then junior high school, the students get treated.
Oh, did you know? That's-
Yeah. we were wanting to capture our favorite foods, so we won't throw the baby out with the bathwater when we're in this transition. Are there any
Okay, so
other
there's no action item on this.
questions? No, we're still awaiting approval from the Department of Ed.
Okay. Anybody else have anything for her?
But we'll be bringing our recommendations in June meeting.
Anybody has any questions, and as you go through the books, just call Angie and I'll get any questions answered. This personnel, I'd like to ask the board to approve the following resignations. Linda Kohler, as an instructional element assistant at North Elementary, May 21st, 2019.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve Linda Culver as an instructional,
No, this is a resignation.
Resignation.
oh, sorry. So that we approve the resignation of Linda Culver as an instructional aide at North Elementary.
Second.
A second.
There's a motion by Mr. Schmidt, seconded by Mrs. Will to approve the resignation request as presented by Dr. Camp. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The motion carries 5-0.
I'd like to ask the board to approve the hiring request for the upcoming school year as listed.
Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the hiring request that's listed.
Second that.
There's a motion by Mr. Oakley and seconded by Mr. Stock to approve the hiring request as presented by Dr. Camp. Any comments or questions?
One question on the volleyball position, that's a new position. That's going to be for both elementary schools. I assume they'll rotate practices.
Yes, they told us they would. Yes.
Good enough.
Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The motion carries 5-0.
I'd like to ask the board to approve the following professional leave request as listed. And if you notice, Catherine DeShears are paid for through a grant.
I think we can. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept professional leave requests as listed.
Second.
I'll second it.
So the motion by Mrs. Well, seconded by Mr. Schmidt to approve the professional leave request as presented by Dr. Camp. Any comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. The motion carries.
You have reports in the report information category, the fuel report, the summer hours, and the dates for start of school. And then the next regular school board meeting will be Monday, June the 10th. And the executive session will be at 5:30 and the regular meeting at 6:30. And that's all I have for the board this evening.
Congratulations to Section James.
Yes.
It's a nice crowd up there. So
I saw on Facebook the parade through North Posey.
the fire trucks.
Yeah, fire trucks, everything. It was big. There were people everywhere with the horns and people in their cars, hanging out windows on top of the trucks. It was pretty big.
I thought graduation went well. So that's always the fun part of the year to see that many kids go through. I don't know, did anybody else, is that the first time? I noticed, I saw it on social media, I don't know which one, where the sixth graders got what, I forget what they call it, a congratulatory walk. They walked the halls for the last time and got the,
Ours did that?
no, North Elementary, right? I thought that was really cool. I've seen other schools doing that in the past, and we've always kind of commented on that. But bringing seniors back to their schools, at least,
Right,
I
at least
thought-
the sixth grade did it.
at least the sixth grade did. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, okay, I thought you were saying that the high schoolers.
No, the sixth graders kind of went back through, got their last high five and hugs. And
Yeah.
it was really cool to see them.
They thought it was great.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
So So those are really good. All right, anybody else have anything for the good of the order? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. We have a motion by Mr. Oakley, seconded by Mr. Stock to adjourn, and we are adjourned. Thank you. Oh,